Hello everyone and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Thank you very much for checking out this video. So about 2 weeks ago now, I took a trip down to Joshua Tree National Park, which is about a 6-hour drive from where I live here in Sacramento. And I took a camera along, decided to film some of the journey, a couple videos of me setting up time-lapse shots and photographing around the national park. And I wanted to put a video together to kind of document the journey, document the trip, showcase some of the photos that I ended up making on the trip. So again, the video of actually going to Joshua Tree was all shot about 2 weeks ago. Just getting around to filming this intro now. So without further ado, let's hop in the car, take a journey down to Southern California, and explore the wonders of Joshua Tree National Park. Welcome to Joshua Tree National Park, folks. A very windy Joshua Tree National Park. Hopefully this audio comes out okay. I may record a lot of footage and then do voiceover later just to help mitigate the wind situation here, but I'm setting up to do kind of a sunset time lapse. Hopefully I can get a cool motion time lapse of the sun setting. You can kind of see behind me. It might be a good sunset. It's hard to tell. All right, this audio might not work, but I'm trying, so we'll see how this goes. Anyways, it's very sunset's kind of on the fence. It might be amazing or it might be kind of okay, but either way, we'll see what happens, and we'll go from there. But anyways, walk you through kind of what I'm using here today. All right, so here we have all of our exciting gear and equipment. My plan today is to use a 5D Mark III with some lens. I'm not sure which one yet. And then I'm going to use this, which is a gimbal. It's a DJI gimbal. And I'm going to try to set up a motion time lapse. I'm not sure if it might be a little too windy for this, but we'll see. So anyways, yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to use yet, but we'll find out here as I get set up. All right, so here you can see me trying out a couple of different lens options. What I ended up doing was deciding to go with a 45mm tilt shift lens. Now, the goal wasn't to use the tilt or shift functionality, it's just that 45mm happened to give me the angle of view and everything that I was looking for this particular time lapse based on where the Joshua Tree was compared to where I was standing. And rather than moving my whole setup, I decided to go with the lens that gave me the sort of framing that I was looking for. Now, as the sun was setting, I just couldn't resist grabbing a few still photos as well. Now for the most important part of any day, mealtime. Okay. Hey, we're rolling. Welcome back to another day. So as you could probably tell from the video, as if I've shown it, I don't know. I don't even know how I'm going to edit this video together, but hopefully you've seen the time lapse from the sunset time lapse that I tried to do. And I think the thought process was solid, but I definitely missed the mark as far as judging how badly the wind was going to affect the poor little gimbal. Didn't handle it super well. As you can see now, I've kind of positioned this behind a tree, so hopefully it'll help mitigate the wind. It's also much less windy today than it was last night. So I thought I'd try it again with a motion time lapse. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. We're slowly it's a slow pan across the scene out there, and the main goal of this time lapse is just to get some cloud motion. So nothing too crazy. Again, I'm really in the testing phase just to see how everything works out, but I'm hoping that this one will actually be usable as sort of a demonstration of kind of this wind is not ideal. I'm telling you, as weekends go, I picked a bad one as far as wind, but it is what it is, so we'll see. As you can tell from, I'm actually able to speak with a lav, so hopefully you can tell it's not nearly as bad as it was last night. Last night was hilariously bad. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and give this a test run and see how things go. All right. And then we'll try to do sunset, and then we'll try to do astro. We'll see. It's gonna be a long night, but I think it'll be fun. Okay, here we go. So, given that this is a video that you may have come across, stand by. All right. How do I do this? Can you hear me? Hello? So I figured I'd let you know what I'm doing. So I'm setting this up for an hour. So it's a 1 hour time lapse move. And what my hope is just to gather some cloud movement. So it's every 12 seconds it's a frame for an hour, which equates to about a 5-second video. So a 5-second time lapse as a finished product. The only downside is I think I'm gonna run this battery in the camera dead. Unfortunately, I didn't plan this out as well as I should have. I should have put a fresh battery in before I started making a time lapse, but I think it should last. Yeah, it should last. I just turned the live view off to help it. All right, we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I think the wind has died down, or it's dying down a little bit. And the one thing I did with this particular time lapse is I went ahead and I went wider angle, so I'm shooting on a 24 millimeter. My hope is that the wider angle is going to help minimize any motion that we have from the wind blowing the camera around. The other thing that I did is, rather than focus, if you remember in that last time lapse, I focused on the Joshua tree and then kind of the sunset was happening in the background. What I did this time is I actually focused farther out on a collection of trees out in the distance. I'm hoping that because there's not a large focal point center frame that's going to accentuate any of those movements, I'm hoping that by doing this, I'm going to reduce some of that motion. So even though the camera is going to be wiggling a little bit here and there, that we maybe won't notice it as much. Or if we do notice it, it'll be easier to fix in post. We'll see if that worked out for me. All right, this time lapse definitely didn't turn out how I was hoping, but I wanted to include it in this video just to kind of demonstrate what happens when things don't quite go how you had planned them. All right, while the time lapse is finishing up, I'm going to go ahead and get some pictures of the sunset because the sun's just about coming down over there. So what I've decided to do is go for the classic one and only 5D, the original. And I'm going to be using today a 50 millimeter 1 point something. I think it's a 1.4. This is one of my favorite combinations, is the old 50 millimeter manual focus, 5D classic, and yeah, a whole bunch of fun, to be honest with you. So we'll see what we can make happen with this sunset. It looks like it'll be a pretty interesting one. I don't know if it's going to be quite the most brilliant sunset I've ever seen, but it's shaping up to be a pretty solid one. So off we go. Welcome back to the last night here at Joshua Tree National Park. We are here with a specific thing in mind, and that is to record a time lapse of the stars behind a Joshua tree. So it's a very specific type of time lapse I'm going for here, but hopefully it turns out. That being said, it's very cold and I'm kind of out here. The wind has died down tremendously. This is a great night for it. My only concern now is that the cars driving past are changing the exposure of my tree, which is unfortunate. But we'll see. I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful for this one. Sadly, my hope was dashed when I looked at the footage. I think I set the gimbal up wrong, but this time-lapse did not turn out at all, to the point where I can't even put together a usable video to include in this film. But it definitely made some mistakes on that one. Anyways, back to the regularly scheduled programming. All right. Well, here we are. Lying on the ground, waiting for my time lapse to finish. Yeah, it's a beautiful night. I'm just literally lying under the stars and listening to my camera click meditatively almost in the background. There's a lot of things in photography that sort of make you... There's a coyote howling in the distance. There are a lot of things in photography that make you kind of sit back and appreciate the world around you, you know? And I think that astrophotography, especially time-lapse astrophotography, is one of them, because there's not much to be done except to lay here under the stars and wait for the camera to do its thing. And you just sort of sit here looking at all the stars and all the planets that must be around them and all the possible worlds that exist out there, and it's very humbling and very exciting. But I just thought I'd throw this little thought into the video since I'm sitting here literally lying under the stars. All right, anyways. All right, folks, I think that's as good a place as any to end this film. Thank you so much for watching. And on this beautiful photo of Orion, I bid you adieu. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.